And away we go, episode 1175 of the Al Galdi podcast. It is Monday, October 13th, 2025. It is a Washington Commanders game day. Commanders versus the Chicago Bears at Northwest Stadium on Monday Night Football at 8:15. The game is a sellout. The Commanders are calling for fans attending the game to wear black, as the team itself will be wearing the all-black uniform for this game against the Bears. Or, as was said on Saturday Night Live many years ago, da Bears.
Da Bears. Da Bears.
That's right, da Bears. The Bears official team hashtag actually is da Bears. Hashtag DABEARS. Da Bears. I love that. I am a Washington fan. Always have been, always will be. I want our team to win every game. Unless I want the team tanking for better draft positioning. But I really want our team to win this game on Monday night because the NFC East is begging to be won by the Commanders. Your results in the NFC East so far in this Week 6 of the NFL's 2025 regular season. The New York Giants ripped the Philadelphia Eagles 34-17 on Thursday Night Football, and the Dallas Cowboys lost at the Carolina Panthers 30-27 on a walk-off 33-yard field goal by Panthers kicker Ryan Fitzgerald on Sunday afternoon. Your NFC East standings going into Commanders-Bears on Monday night. First place, the Eagles 4-2. Second place, the Commanders 3-2. Third place, the Cowboys 2-3-1. Fourth place, the Giants 2-4. Both the Eagles and Cowboys have lost in Week 6. The NFC East is begging to be won by the Commanders. Big game against the Bears on Monday night.
Da Bears. Da Bears.
That is correct. Da Bears. Hello and welcome to this Monday installment of the Al Galdi podcast, on which we talk Commanders on every episode, no matter the time of year. This is the podcast that follows Washington, D.C. area sports so that you don't have to. This is a podcast for which there is a new episode each weekday, Monday through Friday, with each episode out by 5 a.m. Eastern, and often much earlier than that. Coming up on the show, in-depth preview of Commanders-Bears. Next segment, takeaways from the final injury reports for the game, including bad news for the Commanders. Receivers Terry McLaurin and Noah Brown are out again. And I have thoughts on running back Jacory Croskey-Merritt off comments from head coach Dan Quinn on Saturday afternoon. The following segment, a deep dive on what the Commanders are facing in the Bears, as I'll chat with Zack Pearson, Bears insider for BearReport.com and co-host of the Bear Report podcast. And then the segment after that, my rhyming keys for a Commanders win over the Bears and my prediction for the game. Also on the show, I'll talk Capitals. They, over the weekend, had games in New York on back-to-back nights and won each game. Saturday night, a 4-2 win at the New York Islanders. Sunday night, a 1-0 win at the New York Rangers. Excellent goaltending for the Caps over the weekend. And I have lots of conversation for you about the FBS teams of the Mid-Atlantic region off Week 7 of the 2025 college football season, including Maryland overcoming a 24-14 second quarter deficit, but blowing a 31-24 fourth quarter lead. This in a 34-31 loss to Nebraska at CQ Stadium in College Park, Maryland on Saturday. And Navy overcoming a 17-7 halftime deficit in a 32-31 win at Temple at a rainy Lincoln Financial Field in Philadelphia on Saturday, as quarterback Blake Horvath was magnificent in the clutch. What a season Horvath is having. You can hit me up on X at Al Galdi. You can email me, the Al Galdi podcast at yahoo.com. Email from Ethan on the Commanders. Writes Ethan, hi Al, happy Week 6. My brand new white Super Bowl era Jaden Daniels jersey arrived in the mail just hours before kickoff against the Chargers, and I rightfully took that as a good sign of things to come. The jersey is glorious, a classic clean look that oozes nostalgia, and I can't wait to see the jersey in action this season. I kept wearing the jersey while Well, I did some post-game grocery shopping and was stopped multiple times by people asking how the game went or praising JD5. As a lifelong Washingtonian who was born in the 90s, I've never experienced such pure public enthusiasm about my football team outside of the 2012 RG3 rookie campaign as I have these past 12 months. It feels so good to start seeing Commanders gear start to outnumber that of whatever team the transplants root for when I commute to work. Just all this to say, I'm so proud to be part of this fan base, and let's keep the positivity going with JD5, AP, and DQ. All things are possible. Keep up the excellent work as always, HTTC. P.S. I sadly missed the Nats Chat end-of-year party this past Friday, but hope that you got a good turnout. Much to discuss regarding the ongoing staff purge. Thank you for the email, Ethan. The alternate uniform revealed by the Commanders this past July 9th, the Redskins-like uniform straight out of the glory days of the Skins in the 1980s and early 1990s. That uniform is so good. I 100% believe that uniform should be the team's number one uniform as soon as possible. There was never any reason for the Commanders to get so far away from the Redskins uniforms when the name went from Redskins to Washington Football Team and then Washington Football Team to Commanders. The name Redskins was retired in July 2020. The team was the Washington Football Team from July 2022. Yes, 2.2.22, and the team has been the Commanders ever since. But along the way, the uniforms got all out of sorts, and some versions have been better than others, but there with the rebranding was this self-imposed need to overthink things, when just sticking with what people had come to love was always the way to go. The retro uniform will debut on November 2nd when the team hosts the Seattle Seahawks on Sunday Night Football. And regarding the Nats Chat podcast party, Ethan, sorry that you couldn't make it, but we had a great time. 4th annual Nats Chat podcast party. Nats Chat is the Washington Nationals podcast that I do with Nats insider Mark Zuckerman of MASNsports.com. With this past Friday night, 7 until close to 10, I had this year's party. Had it at an ultra-loyal sponsor of the Nats Chat podcast, Walter Sports Bar, right near Nationals Park. I do believe we had our highest attendance ever. Lots of people. Walters was packed. Walters is an awesome sports bar. If you've never been there, you should check it out. And let me also say this. If you are single and ready to mingle, you should check out Walters. The scenery is quite impressive. Now, I'm a happily married man, okay, but I'm not blind. The scenery is quite impressive, and that's all I'm going to say about that. But a lot of good conversation about the Nats and Commanders and also the Wizards. So the Wizards actually came up at one point, but mostly Nats and Commanders conversation. Really cool to see and interact with so many people, so many smart and passionate fans about Washington, D.C. area sports. So thank you to everyone who came out. Are you looking to upgrade the heart of your home? Whether it is time to repair your gas fireplace, modernize your hearth, or simply add more comfort and style, Nova Fireplace and Stove is Northern Virginia's go-to expert for heat, safety, and home transformation. Nova Fireplace and Stove is a family-owned, fully licensed and insured company with over-the-top credentials, a gas and electrical master's licenses, a Class A contractor's license, and a long list of 5-star reviews to back all of this up. Nova Fireplace and Stove has a beautiful showroom in Woodbridge, Virginia. That's where your dream fireplace begins. So come in and see Nova Fireplace and Stove's stunning displays, including custom fireplace glass doors and stone refacing options that can completely transform the look of your fireplace. From sleek and modern to rustic and cozy, Nova Fireplace and Stove has something for every style. And here's what else Nova Fireplace and Stove offers: a gas fireplace service and repair, chimney cleaning and brickwork repair, generator installation, panel replacements, and water heater repairs, smoke detectors, security lights, and more. Every job includes a free in-home estimate. And for listeners of the Al Galdi podcast, Nova Fireplace and Stove is offering $25 off any service. Just mention this ad. Nova Fireplace and Stove only works in Northern Virginia and thus knows the homes, the codes, and the people. Your satisfaction is 100% guaranteed because Nova Fireplace and Stove takes pride in every flame that is lit and every customer who is served. So stop by the showroom, see what's possible, and let Nova Fireplace and Stove help you bring warmth safety, and style to your space. You can also visit NovaFireplaceandStove.com. Nova Fireplace and Stove, where comfort meets craftsmanship, and your fireplace becomes the heart of your home. Week 6 of the NFL's 2025 regular season gives us the 3-2 Washington Commanders against the 2-2 Chicago Bears at Northwest Stadium on Monday Night Football at 8:15. The final injury reports for this game came out on Saturday afternoon, or at least what were supposed to be the final injury reports for this game came out on Saturday afternoon, and we do have more bad injury news for the Commanders. The receivers Terry McLaurin and Noah Brown are out for this game. McLaurin will miss a third consecutive game, this due to a quadriceps injury that he suffered in the Commanders' 41-24 win over the Las Vegas Raiders at Northwest Stadium on September 21st. Brown will miss a fourth consecutive game due to groin and knee injuries. Also, right guard Samuel Cosmi is doubtful for Monday night, so he appears likely to remain on the reserve/physically unable to perform list, on which he was placed on August 26th. This due to a torn right ACL that he suffered in the Commanders' 45-31 win at the Detroit Lions this past January 18th in the divisional round of the NFL playoffs. So receiver Deebo Samuel Sr. and running back Chris Rodriguez Jr. are questionable for Monday night. Deebo due to a heel ailment, Rodriguez due to a calf issue, and the Commanders on Sunday afternoon added interior defensive lineman Eddie Goldman to the injury report. He's questionable for Monday night due to illness. Not good. Goldman has played well. For the Bears, interior defensive lineman Grady Jarrett is out for Monday night due to a knee injury. Big news there, another blow to what has been a bad run defense for the Bears. Commanders head coach Dan Quinn, he did a post-practice press conference on Saturday afternoon. This was Quinn during that presser on Terry McLaurin and Noah Brown.
So Terry and Noah will be out. Both of them made great progress this week. They're just not there yet, but definitely have made good progress.
Okay, so good progress for Terry McLaurin and Noah Brown, but they're still out, and this has become really frustrating. We have the Commanders now being set to be without two of their top three receivers for a third consecutive game. We have a good bit of mystery with these injuries. The exact nature of the Terry McLaurin quadriceps injury remains unknown, and as you may recall, there a few weeks ago was confusion off reports that McLaurin might actually be dealing with a hip flexor injury or even a sports hernia. With Brown, he continues to be listed as dealing with both groin and knee injuries. We know that he suffered at least the groin injury in the Commanders' 27-18 loss at the Green Bay Packers on Thursday Night Football on September 11th, but what this knee injury is and when he suffered it remain unclear, and there is the overall nature of Brown. He just can't stay healthy. I mean, the guy is constantly hurt. And then there's this. The Commanders, in hindsight, absolutely should have placed Noah Brown on the reserve/injured list, as he now is set to miss a fourth consecutive game. And we may look back on the Terry McLaurin situation and say that the team absolutely should have put him on the reserve/injured list. Now, I'm not a big fan of killing the Commanders for not placing Brown on the reserve/injured list, because that is hindsight. Clearly, the team thought that he'd be back already, but he isn't, and that is frustrating. We on Saturday afternoon had this exchange between Commanders insider John Keim of ESPN and Dan Quinn.
With Noah, he was out there for a couple of days this week. Has there been a setback? And are you surprised? Because it's now 4 weeks. It could have been an IR thing. Are you surprised that it's lasted this long for him?
No, you got to just listen and see it, John. It'd be one thing if it was, said all the way, but you don't know at the time, and you just keep battling for it. He did have a good week, the individual work to go. He's just not there yet. But, for him, it's nice to see, him back on the field and into practice and get reps and that stuff. So just not quite yet, but it's putting in really good work.
Okay, and keep in mind that Deebo Samuel is questionable for Monday night due to a heel ailment. Now, he in the lead-up to the Commanders' last game, the 27-10 win at the Los Angeles Chargers on October 5th, was listed as dealing with this heel issue, but he played in the game and played well. Dan Quinn on Saturday afternoon did not say that Deebo will play on Monday night for sure. Perhaps that was gamesmanship, but maybe not. We on Saturday afternoon had this exchange between Commanders insider Nikki Javala of The Athletic and Dan Quinn.
With Deebo, is this something that you guys will just have to manage throughout the season and hope he can stay active on game days, or what's?
He bruised his heel, and so they can be painful to go, but usually it'll turn eventually, and we'll just manage it best we can. But I'm not, thinking it's in the managing it for the season. Just sometimes you just got to manage day to day.
All right, so a bruised heel for Deebo Samuel per Dan Quinn, but each of the Commanders' top 3 receivers, Terry McLaurin, Deebo Samuel, and Noah Brown, is injured to some extent right now. With McLaurin and Deebo, some good news. We on Sunday had this from NFL insider Tom Pelissero of NFL Network on NFL Network's NFL Game Day.
McLaurin out again for Monday Night Football against the Bears, third straight game that he has missed because of his quad injury. I am told there's been no setbacks. He's just working his way through his rehab. McLaurin does have a chance to be back next week for a big game against the Cowboys. Noah Brown is also out for this game. Deebo Samuel questionable with a heel, but it sounds like he is going to be good to go.
Okay, good news there from Tom Pelissero on Terry McLaurin. No setbacks. Also said that it sounds like Deebo Samuel will be good to go from Monday night. The Commanders' lone Monday night game in the 2024 regular season, the 38-33 win at the Cincinnati Bengals on Monday Night Football on September 23rd, 2024, was the breakout game for then rookie quarterback Jayden Daniels. Could it be that this game against the Bears on Monday night will be a breakout game for rookie running back Jacory Croskey-Merritt? Not from a team/local perspective. He already is broken out. His performance in the win at the Chargers may well have been his breakout game as the RB1, but from a national perspective, could this game against the Bears on Monday night be the game that announces Jacory Croskey-Merritt, that announces Bill to the rest of the NFL? The Commanders' rushing offense has been great. The Bears' run defense has been awful, and the Bears for this game will be without Grady Jarrett. We on Saturday afternoon had this exchange between Nikki Javala and Dan Quinn.
I know we've asked a ton about Bill, but just as more attention has come to him, how has he handled it? How has he handled the spotlight, in your opinion?
It's an awesome question, Nikki, because I thought the same, and you just watch, and I think one thing that's nice to see, he's got real humility about him, and there was times last year on a different level of Jayden, they're not comparing. I want to make sure I'm super clear on that. But what I also noticed on him was this strive to improve, the humility to get better, and I see that with Bill. I love the fact that J-Mac and Chris, are also leaning into him. So it's nice to see that as a young player, you can feel his energy to improve and get there. And so I like seeing where he's going, and he's putting in a lot of work, Nikki, to get there. But I think just seeing who he is consistent as a person makes me feel better that he's not on the roller coaster as easy as that could be for a young guy coming in. And so I've been impressed by that.
And, of course, Jacory Croskey-Merritt's play has been impressive. We on Saturday afternoon had this exchange between Commanders insider Ben Standig of Last Man Standing on Substack and Dan Quinn.
Another Bill question.
Sure.
With last year, obviously, there was a lot of good vibes, and it was all new, and everybody was new with each other, and was a lot of, obviously, the season went well, so there was a lot of positivity. Is it nice to have, in year 2, to have a guy like that who seems to be just so wide-eyed and having a great time and the smile and all that? Is that nice to infuse that into what you already have?
Yeah, this team, man, they enjoy their time together and the space, but it is nice when some of the new players do have that space too, Ben, and some of the rookies that are making that spot, from Josh and Trey and Jalen and Bill, making their marks. And so to see the other players really lean into them, that's what impresses me the most when I see Laramie, with Josh, when I see, the receivers with Jalen, when I see, the running backs with Bill, when I see the corners with Trey. There's something to that Ben, that they're also helping them develop. And it's not just coach and on them, but it's collectively. They want to see them rise and go, and they're proud to see those guys grow. But the energy that it goes with, this play style, the attitude, it's Bill, it's a lot of the guys, though, that provide that. And we'll need to play really aggressive and bold and in the style that we like. But Bill definitely fits into that in terms of the energy that he brings to us. He makes unique plays, and so sometimes you can see on the sideline or watching, because he has that capability to him.
Yes, he does. Wouldn't it be great if Jacory Croskey-Merritt on Monday night just abused the porous Bears run defense, like 25 carries for $130 and 2 touchdowns? That would be nice. We heard Dan Quinn in that cut mention the Commanders' play style. He is big on play style, as you may have noticed. He also is big on team identity. The final exchange of Quinn's post-practice press conference on Saturday afternoon gave us this.
Coach, real quick, from your perspective, I know we're through the first quarter-ish of the season, perhaps starting to see from your experience the identities of teams start to take shape. What have you noticed about this particular team and what their identity could be?
I think this team is tough. I really do. And I feel like the line of scrimmages, that's, a big part of that, from running the football, at the line of scrimmage defensively. And so we made a big emphasis on that, heading into 2025. And so adding some players, seeing those roles develop. I like that about our group. The team is connected, and that allows them to really lean in on one another to get better, to get our execution better. So I think those are some things that I found out about our group. This is a tough team. They're resilient. They've had some injuries early to make sure that, they're ready to step into those spaces. And then I think this is a connected team.
Tough and connected. That so far is the identity of the 2025 Commanders, according to Dan Quinn. That's fair. Hopefully we see more toughness and more connectivity on Monday night. The 3-2 Washington Commanders game against the 2-2 Chicago Bears at Northwest Stadium on Monday Night Football at 8:15 is the Commanders' first game in 8 days and is the Bears' first game in 15 days. So the Bears are coming off a bye week. Their results so far in the NFL's 2025 regular season, a 27-24 home loss to the Minnesota Vikings on Monday Night Football on September 8th, a 52-21 loss at the Detroit Lions on September 14th, a 31-14 home win over the Dallas Cowboys on September 21st, and a 25-24 win at the Las Vegas Raiders on September 28th. For much more on the Bears, I'm very pleased to welcome back to the Al Galdi podcast, Zack Pearson, Bears insider for BearReport.com and co-host of the Bear Report podcast. You can follow Zack on X at Zack_Pearson, and Zack is spelled Z-A-C-K, and Pearson is spelled P-E-A-R-S-O-N. Hey, Zack, how are you?
Yeah, no, thank you for having me back on. I'm doing good, ready for what should be another good game in primetime on Monday Night Football between, Jane Daniels and Caleb Williams and Commanders and Bears.
Interesting season for the Bears so far. Would have been the biggest positives, would have been the biggest negatives.
Yeah, I think starting with the negative, I'll say their inability to stop the run and their inability to run the football. They're among the league worst in stopping the run. I think going into last week, they were giving up 5.6 yards per carry or somewhere around that. And then running the football, they've been near the bottom. And those numbers would be a lot worse if it wasn't for Caleb Williams' rushing ability. They just really got nothing from DeAndre Swift. Rookie Kyle Manungai really hasn't given them much. And they've been using DJ Moore in the backfield, trying to find some solutions. The positives, I think Caleb Williams, a play of him and Roma Dunze is something to watch. They've been, connecting really well so far this season. Ben Johnson overall with the attitude and the culture that he set here in Chicago, I think that's been a big plus. And I think, they found a way to win a game in week 4 on the road, in Las Vegas that they probably lose, 9 out of 10 times in any other season.
So with quarterback Caleb Williams, who the Bears took out of USC with the number 1 overall pick in the 2024 NFL Draft, 1 pick before the Commanders took quarterback Jaden Daniels out of LSU with the number 2 overall pick. Williams had a disappointing rookie season. A lot went into that, but he has been better this season. Williams for this regular season through Week 5 was number 12 among all qualified NFL quarterbacks in ESPN's total QBR 64.9. How and why has Williams been better this season?
Yeah, I think it's just the Ben Johnson effect. I think, having him there, having him coach Caleb really hard, he said it from the start, when he was first introduced, like he's going to coach Caleb hard. He's going to criticize him. And Caleb was welcome to that. He was actually asking for that, to be coached hard and all that. So I think having Ben Johnson's been a big help. I think he's worked on his footwork a lot during the offseason. I think when you watch him last year compared to this year, you can notice some things with his feet. I don't think he's bailing as much out of the pocket as he was a year ago. He still does. He still, tends to get out a little too early. But he's also making those, quote unquote, Superman type plays, keeping the plays alive. But I think just playing in that script, playing in that rhythm of the offense under Ben Johnson, has really helped Caleb Williams.
Things for Caleb Williams in his rookie season were so messed up. The Bears in January 2024 hired Shane Waldron as offensive coordinator. They then fired him this past November 12th. The Bears then fired their head coach, Matt Eberflus, this past November 29th. That said, there has been enough reporting and analysis to where Williams' disappointing rookie season wasn't all due to his environment. He himself shared in the blame. What's fair to say about how much of his disappointing rookie season was on him?
Yeah, I think there's a fair amount. I think, what I mentioned with him leaving the pocket, bailing, not going through his reads, that was tough because he would just kind of try to make things happen. That's why we saw, the high sack number. But also, a poor offensive line also went into that as well. His inability to hit, deep throws, that was a big struggle for him. The accuracy was tough in that part of his game. But I also do think, with everything crumbling last year, starting with that Washington game in the Hail Mary, I think it just all kind of spiraled for the entire team. I think they just had enough as the weeks were going on and just kind of, I don't want to say quit or anything like that, but, it just felt like that was the dagger for their season, even though it was early on. But, he is to blame for some of those struggles himself, and he'll say that as well. But I think so far this year, we've seen him work and put the effort into fixing it so far.
So things like Caleb Williams' work ethic and attitude are fine?
Yeah, I don't think there's ever – I know there's been reports and stuff, but I've never seen anything personally in the locker room, on the field. In my eyes, it's been like, oh, wow, okay, like this is really, really bad, or like it's just not there. I do think it's easy to kind of check out when you're having a season like you did last year where, you lost 10 straight games and, your coach was making basic coaching mistakes and, your pass game coordinator ended up being your head coach at the end of the year. So, yeah, I don't think there was any issues with work ethic, or at least not now this season at all. He's a competitor. He wants to win. He's going to do what he can to win. And, he's not used to losing a lot in high school and college. He didn't lose a whole lot. So that probably hit him, in a different way.
Yeah, and we had Caleb Williams in this area with him attending Gonzaga College High School in Washington, D.C. The Bears this past January hired Detroit Lions offensive coordinator Ben Johnson as head coach. He was a head coaching candidate for the Commanders in the 2024 offseason in what became quite the drama. We'll leave that for another time. But what has stood out to you about Johnson as Bears head coach?
I think just like the confidence he has, the ability to really command a room. And I know that kind of sounds cliche, with a lot of coaches, and you hear that a lot. We heard it with Matt Eberflus, and then it just kind of went away, like it just wasn't there. With Ben Johnson, he's demanding perfection. We saw it early in OTAs and in mini camps where the offense would, make a couple mistakes and he'd pull the first team, or he'd make them redo the drill or redo the rep, and he'd get on them. And he's called out players publicly, for not lining up properly or making mistakes. He's very truthful. He'll give you the answer you're looking for and the answer you need. He's not going to back down from criticism. But I think just his ability to earn that respect in the locker room right away was a major thing, especially after what happened here last year.
Ben Johnson's Bears coaching staff includes two guys who we know well. The Bears receivers coach / assistant head coach is Antoine Randall, who was a receiver for the Redskins for the 2006 through 2009 seasons. So the Bears running backs coach is Eric Bieniemy, who was the Commanders' assistant head coach / offensive coordinator for the 2023 season. How are Antoine Randall and Eric Bieniemy doing?
I'll start with, Bieniemy, very, very vocal, very hard on his running backs. He coaches. He really coaches. When you're out there in training camp and in the practice we get to see during the week, I watch the running backs all the time, and he is on them. And it's not just, DeAndre Swift or Kamanunga. It's guys on the practice squad. He is making sure they understand what they need to do, and if they don't, he gets on them. Randall has been fantastic. He's a local kid here from Chicago, 2-star athlete, basketball, actually 3, I think, basketball, baseball, and football. Went to Indiana. He is so much fun to talk to, and he coaches his guys up. He's their hype man. He's the offense's hype man. He's been a treat. I've got to talk to him a little bit one-on-one a couple times, just, about life and basketball, and he is great. He'll spend as much time as you want talking to him. He's been really good. So I like those additions. I think Ben Johnson's put together a pretty impressive staff.
We're talking Commanders-Bears on Monday Night Football with Zack Pearson, Bears insider for BearReport.com and co-host of the Bear Report podcast. You brought up the Bears' offensive line not being good last season. How has the Bears' offensive line been so far this season?
It was supposed to be improved. They spent a lot of money and they traded away some draft picks to improve it. But, their biggest question came at left tackle. They had a battle there between Braxton Jones, rookie Ozzie Trapillo, and undrafted free agent out of Canada, Theo Benedict. And it ended up being Braxton Jones. I think they're going to make the switch this week, would be all indications in my eyes, would be they're going to make a switch. They just haven't been able to stay fully healthy on the tackles. Darnell Wright's missed some time. I don't know if he'll play. He probably will. I'd probably lean towards yes. But their main struggles have come essentially from not being able to run the football. And the only success they found is essentially running on that right side off of Darnell Wright. So Joe Thuney's their best offensive lineman. I don't think he has a single penalty this year, where everyone else has multiple false starts or multiple holding calls, things like that. So their strength is with Thuney. They can be up or down. Like the first half against the Raiders, they were really bad. Second half, they were a lot better. So it's kind of a, hot and cold type thing.
The Bears this past January hired former New Orleans Saints head coach Dennis Allen as defensive coordinator. You mentioned the Bears' run defense not being good so far this season. What else should we know about the Bears' defense?
Yeah, they've been hit with injuries, so it was really kind of hard to pinpoint exactly what's going on outside of the run game. Pass coverage has been an issue at times, allowing some big plays, allowing some wide open receivers. You look at week 1 and they essentially had that game in the bag, and then they let J.J. McCarthy run all over them, throw all over them. It just kind of seems like things are going bad. It goes downhill and it spirals quickly. But when things are going good, they're racking up turnovers left and right, and then they're scoring and things like that. But, injuries have been probably their biggest issue. They missed TJ Edwards for a couple weeks. He should be back. Jalen Johnson's on IR. He played essentially one half in Detroit, and that was it for him. Excuse me. Kyler Gordon will make his season debut. He's missed the previous 4 games. So just not being able to stay healthy and having that familiarity with each other on the field has probably been their biggest struggle.
The Hail Noah, Jaden Daniels walk-off 1st and 10, 52-yard shotgun Hail Mary touchdown bomb to receiver Noah Brown in the Commanders' 18-15 win over the Bears at Northwest Stadium last October 27th. You on BearReport.com last week had an item on Bears defensive back Tyreek Stevenson, who famously was the GOAT on the Hail Noah. GOAT in the bad way. A fan video that went viral showed that Stevenson, prior to the play and then in the initial initial seconds of the play was taunting Commanders fans and not actively participating in the play. And Matt Eberflus, he during his day after the game press conference revealed that Stevenson was supposed to box out Brown on that play. Stevenson did not do that. Is the Hail Noah still looming over Tyreek Stevenson?
I think it is just because it's the game week and then they're playing the Commanders again. I'll be honest. He got a lot of criticism nationally and locally. He'll say it was deserved, but he was right out in front of it. He apologized to his teammates, I believe, the next day in a team meeting. He tried to bust his butt to work hard and improve. And he's actually played pretty well this season so far. I think he has like 3 or 4 takeaways already and pretty much had a couple key ones in their 2 wins, against Dallas and against the Raiders. But I think it's a deal now just because of who they're playing. But he was brutally honest about it when we talked to him the other day. And, he said it still hurts. I still think about it, but he's using it as motivation and he's using it as a life lesson he can teach his son. Now, do I think he's going to go into DC thinking about that? Probably in the back of his mind, but I don't think it's any sort of quote unquote revenge game. I think he's just looking at it like it's another game. It's another opportunity for me to show my teammates what I can do. And the Bears are going to need him because they don't have Jalen Johnson. So he's quarterback 1 right now.
The Commanders on Halloween 2023, what was 2023 NFL trade deadline day, traded edge defender Montez Sweat to the Bears for a second-round pick in the 2024 NFL Draft. And then the Bears on November 5th, 2023, announced having signed Sweat to a 4-year contract extension. How are things going for Sweat?
Yeah, it's been up and down. The Bears are paying him a lot of money, and they need more production. I believe he has 1.5 sacks so far this year. Probably should have had another that was, didn't count because of a pretty bad penalty against Detroit. But he's seen a lot of double teams, and the Bears just have no pass rush. Your earlier question about the defense, I should have said the pass rush has been really bad. They spent a lot of money on Diota Bingo, and he has one good game against Minnesota and it's been downhill. Austin Booker's been hurt, so that really hasn't helped Montez at all. But at the same time, he'll tell you, he's got to win those matchups when he gets those one-on-ones. Got to get to the quarterback. If he's not getting to the quarterback, the Bears are not going to win many games this year.
The Bears general manager is Ryan Poles. He has been their GM since January 2022. Is this a make or break season for him, as Bears GM?
Yeah, if we did this interview, in April, May, I would have said 100% definitely. But then they gave him an extension. They extended, added more years on to pair him up with Ben Johnson. So I wouldn't say it's make or break, but I would say that, there's still a lot of pressure on him. He's missed on some picks. He's missed on some free agents. He's hit on some. But he has to get this right. You can't start your press conference, saying you're going to take the North and never give it back. And then you've literally been in the bottom of the NFC North since that statement. I don't think they've ever been in first place in his tenure so far. So while it's not make or break, it's still very important where they have to win games. They have to be better than last year. They have to show that they're on the right track because, he's been criticized for not fixing that offensive line and getting a pass rush. And so far, the pass rush side is proven like he's just not getting it and not figuring it out.
The Bears have not had a winning regular season since going 12-4 in the 2018 regular season, 5-12 in the 2024 regular season. What's realistic for the Bears this season?
Yeah, they're thinking wild card playoffs, which is hard. It's still a tough division here in Chicago, in the NFC North. And then you have, the Commanders and the Eagles and who knows with the Cowboys in the East and, the 49ers and Rams. And so there's not really many wild card spots available. But yeah, they're thinking wild card playoffs. Realistically, for me, I said this year, I think 8 wins is probably their ceiling. 9, maybe it is their ceiling, but I had them at 8 wins. I'd probably still have them 7-8. The schedule is a little tougher. You don't know what you're going to get with Lamar Jackson. Joe Burrow's out, so they can achieve that. I just don't, playoffs is going to be tough for me to see them finishing this year.
Zack Pearson, Bears insider for BearReport.com and co-host of the Bear Report podcast. Zack, thanks. All the best.
Yeah, thank you so much. I appreciate you having me on again.
All right. The Nace Law Group, accident and injury lawyers. It has been a Washington, D.C. institution for decades. If you feel that you've been wronged, if you think that you've been wronged but aren't sure, contact the Nace Law Group, accident and injury lawyers, and schedule a no-obligation appointment. Call 202-902-7611 or visit WashingtonDCInjuryLawyers.com and tell the Nace Law Group that Al Galdi sent you. Founded in 1979, the Nace Law Group offers fierce advocacy on behalf of medical malpractice, birth injury, and personal injury victims. Led by the great Chris Nace, the Nace Law Group is focused on providing exceptional care and counsel for those who need such things the most. The Nace Law Group fights for what it believes in, you, your family, and your future. You with the Nace Law Group have an experienced advocate on your side. The Nace Law Group has secured millions of dollars in verdict and settlement amounts for clients to better enable them to care for themselves and their families. Call 202-902-7611 or visit WashingtonDCInjuryLawyers.com and tell the Nace Law Group that Al Galdi sent you. That's 202-902-7611 or WashingtonDCInjuryLawyers.com, and make sure that you mention that Al Galdi sent you. The Nace Law Group, accident and injury lawyers. The Washington Commanders franchise has quite the history with the Chicago Bears. The two franchises have played each other 54 times in terms of regular season and postseason games. The Commanders franchise leads the series with a record of 28-25-1. The tie was in the first game between the two franchises, October 30th, 1932, a 7-all tie between the Boston Braves and Chicago Bears at Braves Field in Boston. The series includes maybe the single worst loss that any NFL team has ever suffered, a 73-0 loss for the Washington Redskins to the Chicago Bears at Griffith Stadium in Washington, D.C. on December 8th, 1940 in the 1940 NFL Championship game. The series includes wins for the Skins at the Bears in back-to-back postseasons, a 27-13 win at the Bears on January 3rd, 1987 in the divisional round of the NFL playoffs for the 1986 season, and a 21-17 win at the Bears on January 10th, 1988 in the divisional round of the NFL playoffs for the 1987 season. And most recently, the series includes the two teams playing each other in each of 4 consecutive regular seasons, 2022 through 2025. And among those games, of course, the Hail Noah game, the Commanders' 18-15 walk-off win over the Bears at Northwest Stadium last October 27th on quarterback Jaden Daniels' walk-off. First and 10, 52-yard shotgun Hail Mary touchdown bomb to receiver Noah Brown. A lot of history between the Commanders franchise and the Bears franchise. And so, my friends, it is that time, the time to rhyme. It is time for Rhyming Keys, my keys to a Commanders win in rhyming fashion. These rhymes, they are not meant to be good, and they are not good. They are quite bad. In fact, the rhymes are only meant to make a few points. And in fact, I have a saying for this segment, indeed a rhyme for this segment. The saying is counterintuitive, but trust me, the saying is true. The worse the rhyme, the better the time. And so let's have a good time. Here we go. Hardcore analysis combined with scheduled fun. Rhyming keys for Commanders Bears. How do the Commanders win this game? We now rhyme the ways. Rhyming key number 1. This is for the Commanders' rushing offense and run defense. Run free and embarrass EB. The Commanders' rushing offense and run defense are really good. The Bears' rushing offense and run defense are really bad. This is a game in which, maybe, hopefully, the Commanders run the ball down the throats of the Bears and continue the struggles of the Bears' rushing offense. The Commanders in the 2025 regular season through Week 5 were number 3 in the NFL in expected points added per play, EPA per play on called running plays per RBSDM.com. The Bears in the 2025 regular season through Week 5 were number 22 out of 32 NFL teams in EPA per play allowed on called running plays per RBSDM.com. Also, The Commanders in the 2025 regular season through Week 5 were number 1 in the NFL in yards per carry, 5.88. The Bears in the 2025 regular season through Week 5 were dead last in the NFL in yards allowed per carry, 6.15. Yes, 6.15 yards allowed per carry, and Bears interior defensive lineman Grady Jarrett is out for this game due to a knee injury. Might this be a game in which Commanders running backs Jacory Croskey-Merritt, Chris Rodriguez Jr., and Jeremy McNichols feast? And then there's the Commanders run defense versus the Bears rushing offense. So the Commanders in the 2025 regular season through Week 5 were number 12 in the NFL in EPA per play allowed on called running plays per RBSDM.com. The Bears in the 2025 regular season through Week 5 were number 31 out of 32 NFL teams in EPA per play on called running plays per RBSDM.com. Look, this is the NFL. Anything can happen. Week-to-week league, we get that. But on paper, this game features two lopsided matchups. The Commanders' rushing offense and run defense are really good. The Bears' rushing offense and run defense are really bad. And don't forget that the Bears' running backs coach is our old pal, Eric Bieniemy, who was the Commanders' assistant head coach / offensive coordinator for the 2023 season. And so rhyming key number 1. This for the Commanders' rushing offense and run defense. Run free and embarrass EB. Rhyming key for Commanders Bears number 2. This is for the Commanders' offense. Do not drown on third down. Third down stats can fluctuate wildly week to week, never mind season to season, but here's a lopsided matchup not in favor of the Commanders. The Commanders for this regular season through Week 5 were number 29 out of 32 NFL teams in third down efficiency, 32.7%, just 17 for 52. The Bears for this regular season through Week 5 were number 1 in the NFL in lowest opponents' third down efficiency, 29.3, just 12 for 41. Now, third downs are not everything. The Commanders' 27-10 win at the Los Angeles Chargers on October 5th happened despite the Commanders going just 2 for 7 on third downs and allowing the Chargers to go 9 for 16 on third downs. But obviously, you want to do well on third downs, and the Commanders' offense has had some pre-snap penalties that have really hurt the team in its third down efficiency. Go back to that win at the Chargers. 3rd and 11 for the Commanders at their 25 with 8:10 left in the second quarter. Jeremy McNichols committed a 5-yard false start penalty. 3rd and 5 for the Commanders at the Chargers 13 with 5:58 left in the third quarter. The Commanders committed a 5-yard delay of game penalty. 3rd and 1 for the Commanders at the 50 with 3:25 left in the fourth quarter. The Commanders committed a 5-yard illegal formation penalty. Rhyming key number 2, this for the Commanders offense, do not drown on third down. And rhyming key for Commanders Bears number 3, this is for the Commanders defense, 0 fails against a guy who paints his nails. Talking about Bears quarterback Caleb Williams, who, yes, at times paints his nails. I'm not judging. And actually, he at times paints his nails for good causes. So Williams for the Bears' regular season opening 27-24 home loss to the Minnesota Vikings on Monday Night Football on September 8th painted his nails with 988, the telephone number for the Suicide and Crisis Lifeline. A nice gesture. Caleb Williams this season has been so much better than he was during his disappointing rookie season last season. Consider his sack percentage, 10.79 for the 2024 regular season, 5.11 for this regular season. He has cut his sack percentage by more than half. Also, he is very capable as a runner. Remember, the Commanders in the win at the Chargers allowed quarterback Justin Herbert to have 4 carries for 60 yards. The Commanders on Monday night have got to be disciplined in their pass rushes and cannot get torched by any of the Bears' many talented skill position players. The Bears have some talented skill position guys. The receivers, Roma Dunze, DJ Moore, who went to the University of Maryland, Olamide Zaccheaus, who spent last season with the Commanders. He signed with the Bears as an unrestricted free agent this past March. Luther Burden, who the Bears took in the second round of the 2025 NFL Draft out of the University of Missouri. The tight ends, Cole Kmet and Colston Loveland, who the Bears took with the number 10 overall pick in the 2025 NFL Draft out of the University of Michigan. Loveland, though, is questionable for Monday night due to a hip issue. Rhyming key number 3, this for the Commanders defense, 0 fails against the guy who paints his nails. All right. It is prediction time. The consensus line per Action Network for this game as of Sunday night was Commanders minus 5.5. I don't at all like that the Commanders continued to be without 2 of their top 3 receivers in Terry McLaurin and Noah Brown. McLaurin out for this game. He'll be out for a 3rd consecutive game due to a quadriceps injury. Brown out for this game. He'll be out for a 4th consecutive game due to groin and knee injuries. You combine that with receiver Deebo Samuel Sr. being questionable for this game due to a heel ailment. And at some point, these receiver injuries / absences may well catch up to our team. But they haven't yet. In this scenario of the Commanders' rushing offense and run defense being really good, and the Bears' rushing offense and run defense being really bad, and the Bears being without Grady Jarrett, sets up nicely for the Commanders. Final score, Commanders 31, Bears 21, Jaden Daniels, 2 rushing touchdowns. A very good weekend for the Washington Capitals. They in the NHL's 2025-2026 regular season now are 2-1-0 off wins in back-to-back games in New York. Saturday night, a 4-2 win at the New York Islanders. Sunday night, a 1-0 win at the New York Rangers. And how about this? The win on Sunday night marks the Caps' 16th win in the second half of a set of back-to-back games since the start of the 2023-2024 regular season. 14 of those 16 wins have come on the road. The Caps' 14 road wins on 0 days rest since the start of the 2023-2024 regular season are the most in the NHL. Great goaltending for the Caps over the weekend. The 4-2 win at the Islanders on Saturday night. The Caps starting goaltender was Logan Thompson. He stopped 34 of the 36 shots on goal that he faced. Each of the 2 goals that Thompson gave up was a power play goal. The Caps went just 1 for 3 on the penalty kill, but you don't usually fault a goaltender for a power play goal. Thompson really came through in the third period. The Caps, in a third period that they lost 1-0, had just 6 shots on goal to the Islanders' 20. Thompson, in that third period, stopped 19 of the 20 shots on goal that he faced. He, per natural stat trick, stopped 10 of the 11 high-danger shots on goal that he faced, stopped 7 of the 8 medium-danger shots on goal that he faced, and stopped all 16 of the low-danger shots on goal that he faced. And the 1-0 win at the Rangers on Sunday night, the Caps starting goaltender was their number 2 goaltender, Charlie Lindgren, and he pitched a shutout. He stopped all 35 of the shots on goal that he faced. Lindgren, per natural stat trick, stopped all 10 of the high-danger shots on goal that he faced, stopped all 8 of the medium-danger shots on goal that he faced, and stopped all 15 of the low-danger shots on goal that he faced. The Caps went 2 for 2 on the penalty kill. One, despite losing the puck possession battle, they had 21 shots on goal to the Rangers' 35, and per natural stat trick had 47 5-on-5 shot attempts to the Rangers' 59. Charlie Lindgren very much won this game for the Caps. Now, the Caps in the 4-2 win at the Islanders on Saturday night had 29 shots on goal to the Islanders' 36, but per natural stat trick had 57 5-on-5 shot attempts to the Islanders' 49, including 14 5-on-5 high-danger shot attempts to the Islanders' 7. Caps second-line left wing Alexi Protas, he on Saturday night had a big game, 2 even-strength goals and a secondary assist, and he was number 2 on the Caps in 5-on-5 shot attempt percentage for the game per natural stat trick at 68.75. The Caps with Protas on the ice in 5-on-5 situations in the game had 22 shot attempts versus allowing just 10 shot attempts. Also on Saturday night, Caps third-line right wing Ryan Leonard had an even-strength goal, and defenseman Martin Fehervari had an even-strength goal and a team-high tying 4 block shots. The game's lone goal in the 1-0 win at the Rangers on Sunday night was an even-strength goal by by Caps third-line left wing Anthony Beauvillier, 13:47 into the second period. He did commit a second-period hooking minor. Alex Ovechkin, he served as the Caps top-line right wing in each game over the weekend, had a primary assist in each game. The Caps do remain without a power play goal in this regular season, a combined 0 for 3 on the power play over the weekend. The Caps in the 1-0 win at the Rangers on Sunday night won despite going just 17-32 on faceoffs. And also for the Caps in the 1-0 win at the Rangers on Sunday night were some lineup changes. Head coach Spencer Carberry for each of the Caps' first 2 games in this regular season had the same 3 players as healthy scratches, winger Sonny Milano and defenseman Declan Chisholm and Vincent Iorio. But Carberry on Sunday night had Iorio, defenseman Trevor Van Riemsdyk, and forward Hendrix Lapierre as healthy scratches. Next up for the Caps, home to the Tampa Bay Lightning, Tuesday night at 7. Time now to talk college football. 6 of the 7 FBS teams of the Mid-Atlantic region played in Week 7 of the 2025 season. No game for Virginia. It had a bye. UVA's next game is its homecoming game, home to Washington State this Saturday evening at 6:30. By the way, UVA is up 1 spot to being the number 18 team in the FBS per the latest Associated Press Top 25 poll, which came out on Sunday afternoon. Liberty played this past Wednesday night. The Flames improved to 2-4 overall, including 1-1 in Conference USA with a 19-8 win at UTEP. Their next game is this Tuesday night, home to New Mexico State, Tuesday night at 7. So, Maryland, Navy, Virginia Tech, James Madison, and Old Dominion played this past Saturday. Just 2 of the 5 teams won, and not among the winning teams was Maryland. The Terrapins fell to 4-2 overall, including 1-2 in the Big Ten, with a 34-31 loss to Nebraska at CQ Stadium in College Park, Maryland on Saturday. Second consecutive loss for the Terps off the 4-0 start. They were coming off that 24-20 home loss to Washington on October 4th in a game in which the Terps blew a 20-0 third quarter lead. The Terps in this loss to Nebraska overcame a 24-14 second quarter deficit, but blew a 31-24 fourth quarter lead. The Terps won the third quarter 14-0, but then lost the fourth quarter 10-0. Maryland's defense got shredded. The Terps allowed Nebraska to generate 453 total net yards of offense and average 7.68 yards per play. The Terps for this season through Week 6 were number 15 in the FBS in fewest yards allowed per play at 4.27, but the defense in this game had big-time problems. So the Terps got worked by Nebraska quarterback Dylan Raiola. Now, they did intercept him 3 times, including a 67-yard pick six by defensive back Dante Joyner with 6:40 left in the third quarter, but the Terps also allowed Raiola to go 20 for 29 for 260 yards and 4 touchdowns. The Terps had just 1 sack, which was for a 10-yard loss, and the Terps allowed Nebraska running back Emmett Johnson to have 21 carries for 176 yards and to have 2 receptions for 20 yards. Maryland true freshman quarterback Malik Washington had a mixed game. He had 2 bad snaps on the Terps' final offensive drive on a 1st and 10 for the Terps at their 45 with 38 seconds left in the fourth quarter. Washington committed a 14-yard intentional grounding penalty, and Washington had a bad incompletion on Maryland's final offensive snap. 4th and 4 for the Terps at the Nebraska 49 with 23 seconds left in the fourth quarter. Washington had a shotgun incompletion on a pass intended for tight end Dorian Fleming. Fleming was open, but the pass was behind him. Now, Washington did complete 27 of his 37 pass attempts. That works out to a completion percentage of 72.97. He had some big completions for sure, but he threw for just 249 yards. He had a yards per pass attempt of just 6.73. He had 1 touchdown pass versus no interceptions. He took just 1 sack, which was for a 6-yard loss. He had 5 carries for 29 yards when you take out the sack that he took. And he quarterbacked the Terps offense that went 7 for 15 on third downs, but also 0 for 2 on fourth downs. Like I said, a mixed game for Malik Washington. Overall, though, he to me is doing well. And how about this? Malik Washington's 1,506 passing yards through 6 career games rank number 3 among true freshman quarterbacks since 2019. Numbers 1 and 2 are two guys who ended up being quarterbacks for the Washington Commanders. Jaden Daniels for Arizona State in 2019 and Sam Howell for North Carolina in 2019. Also, Maryland's rushing offense, which had not been good, was good. It was good to see that. Terps running backs DeJuan Williams, Nolan Ray, and Iverson Howard combined for 23 carries for 105 yards and 2 touchdowns. But then there is this. Penalties. Maryland had 8 accepted penalties for 100 yards, including 3 unsportsmanlike conduct penalties in the second quarter. Just awful, undisciplined play by the Terps. Not a good look for head coach Mike Locksley. Here was Locksley during the opening statement of his post-game press conference on Saturday evening.
Obviously, one heck of a game for anybody that was there in the stadium. One great college football game. Obviously, it hurts for anyone that's in our locker room. They work really hard to give themselves a chance to have an opportunity to win there at the end. Really love the fight, the effort that this team continues to show. They show resiliency in this game, down 2 times, 10 or more points, and they battle back. And to me, when people leave here, they look and they see that this team has and will play hard. Obviously, one of the things we talk about around here is nobody's going to give us anything. And I'm not coming in here to be anything we get, we're going to have to take or earn. And that's one of the things that, again, a week ago, we didn't make enough plays. This time we get it till there were zeros on the clock, and we're competing, scratching, scraping, and fighting to find a way to win. And I think with that type of effort, you'll see the results of it. Obviously, didn't do it today. Credit Nebraska for Matt and his team. Again, a week later, these guys made plays that they had to make, and it's something you got to give them credit for. But now we'll take it back on the road. We got a short week where we got to head out to California. We'll leave Thursday, so we got to get a lot of work done and get this one behind us pretty quickly while making the necessary corrections for the trip out to LA. And so we'll turn the page quickly. We'll get back on the horse. We'll continue to coach the crap out of this team, and I feel really good about this team. I know you guys are going to write what you got to write, but nobody can watch what we've did today and feel like it's the same old Maryland, because I don't see that, and I'll continue to tell you those things. So with that, I'll open it up for whatever questions you have.
Nebraska's head coach is Matt Rule, the former Carolina Panthers head coach, but not the same old Maryland, per Mike Locksley. We'll see about that. I hope that he's right, but the trend for Maryland with Mike Locksley since he was hired as head coach in December 2018 is to get off to an encouraging start and then struggle, if not fall apart. Are we seeing that now with the Terps having gone from 4-0 to 4-2? And regarding the penalties, so Maryland for this season is in the bottom half of the FBS in terms of accepted penalties per game. 42 accepted penalties over 6 games, 7 per game. I'm not a big fan of the lack of accountability from Locksley for the penalties. Take a listen to this exchange from his post-game press conference on Saturday evening.
Hey, Mike. We've talked all season, and I feel like in past seasons, about penalties and kind of popping up. And you've kind of cited as a lack of focus. Tonight, 8 penalties, 3 unnecessary roughness. How do you explain kind of the repeated issue of those type of penalties in these games?
Yeah, if it was the same person, I'd say that, hey, yeah, let's pile on. But when it comes from leaders like number 10, Cam Rice, obviously those after the play penalties are critical. Like I've told you, I equate a lot to being a parent. And as a parent, all I can do is draw the line in the sand. We'll continue to coach our guys up on the proper way to play. As I've said before, we get our share of penalties, but we also don't get our share of calls that tend to go our way. And that's where when I talk about taking things and making your breaks, we can't rely on officials, and we can't obviously do things that allow us to give things away. I mean, that's the part for us. We've played clean on offense. The defensive side of the ball, those penalties showed up today, which hadn't been an issue. We'll take a peek at them. Sometimes after being evaluated, they don't always end up that way. So I'm looking forward to watching some of the penalties on tape.
Okay, so Mike Locksley making it a point to blame officiating for the penalties. How about this exchange from later in his post-game press conference on Saturday evening?
Mike, back to the penalties and the fact that they continue to pop up year over year, is that just a matter of your messaging to these players, especially these older players, not getting through to them? And if so, why is that, you think?
Is it messaging? I mean, I don't even know how to answer that question. You're saying, is it messaging of why we keep having penalties? I think the penalties happen when players play beyond the whistle. They got to make better decisions. Again, as a parent, it's like saying, why your kid continues to make mistakes. Well, as a parent, I'm going to keep coaching. I'm going to keep teaching them. When you get to this age, you'll learn. They don't always do exactly what you say when you tell them, but at some point they'll learn, and we'll continue to make the necessary changes. If guys don't get it, we'll do what we can do to get it fixed.
So Mike Locksley right there getting defensive about the penalties and again using this parent analogy as if to take himself off the hook for the penalties. Dude, you're the head coach. Take responsibility. Take ownership of the penalty problem. Say that this is unacceptable, point blank, period. Say we need to get this fixed, point blank, period. Say this starts with me, point blank, period. That's what I want to hear from my head coach. Next up from Maryland at UCLA, Saturday night at 7. What a win for Navy. It improved to 6-0 overall, including 4-0 in the AAC, with a 32-31 win at Temple at a rainy Lincoln Financial Field in Philadelphia on Saturday. Navy, with this win, became bowl eligible. Yeah, the midshipmen already are bowl eligible. Navy overcame a 17-7 halftime deficit. Navy's offense again came through. Now, the Mids had just 54 offensive plays to Temple's 76, lost the time of possession battle by 8 minutes, 4 seconds. A big part of that was the Mids going just 3 for 11 on third downs. But the Mids had 384 total net yards of offense and averaging 7.11 yards per play. And the Mids went 3 for 3 on fourth downs. And speaking of that, Navy quarterback Blake Horvath again was great, and he was clutch. 4th and 1 for the Mids at their 49. Horvath had a 51-yard shotgun touchdown run up the middle with 39 seconds left in the fourth quarter to cut the Mids' deficit to 1 at 31-30. And he then connected on a pistol play action 2-point conversion pass to running back Alex Teska for a 32-31 Navy lead. And Horvath made the completion while being tackled off having rolled to his right. Blake Horvath, just outstanding. He had 19 carries for 155 yards and 2 touchdowns. He, as a passer, went just 6 for 16, but he threw for 141 yards, a touchdown, and no interceptions. He had a yards per pass attempt of 8.81 and a yards per completion of 23.5, and he took no sacks. Blake Horvath for this season through Week 7 is number 34 among all qualified FBS quarterbacks in ESPN's total QBR, 73. He, for this season through Week 7, is number 9 in the FBS in rushing yards, 640. The problem for Navy is its defense. So the Mids allowed Temple to amass 518 total net yards of offense, average 6.82 yards per play, and go 6 for 12 on third downs and 2 for 2 on fourth downs. Navy for this season through Week 7 is number 114 out of 136 FBS teams in defensive efficiency per ESPN. But still a tremendous come-from-behind win for Navy at Temple. Here was the opening statement of Navy head coach Brian Newberry's postgame press conference on Saturday evening.
Well, hats off to Temple. Coach Keeler's done a heck of a job. The improvement from a year ago, last year, is really impressive. They got a really good football team. I knew that going in. I told our guys, and I said it to the press this week, this is the best football team that we played, most complete team that we played. And I'm so proud of our players. Not necessarily because of the way we played, especially at times, but just the way that we finished, the way we stayed the course, the way they kept believing in each other. It's a special group. I mean, the character, the connection. That's why we win these close games, and we find a way to win. And we're a relatively young team on defense. 7 new starters this year, and we're taking some lumps, and we just got to keep getting better. And I know they will. We've got some good players. Obviously in the first half, couldn't get anything going offensively outside the first drive. I think we had 3 and outs. I think we ran 17 offensive plays in the first half. We're not going to win a lot of games doing that. And then we couldn't get off the field defensively. I thought we tackled poor tonight, didn't execute at a high level. We credit to Temple and their offensive plan. It's tough to defend. They do some really good things. Thought their quarterback played really well tonight. But at the end of the day, our guys found a way. I don't know if I've ever been more proud of a football team. Coming off of a CIC win, going on the road to play a really good Temple team. We've lost the last 2 times in the stadium. A lot to overcome this week, but just super proud. I mean, those are the guys we want, right, as leaders, officers in the Navy and the Marine Corps right there, because they are the definition of warriors. And couldn't be more proud of our team. We got a long way to go. We got to keep getting better. Obviously, this bye week comes at a good time for us, and we got to run into this bye week to get better, to become a better football team, and we certainly can. And our guys will embrace and attack that. So.
Yes, sir. Navy is among others receiving votes for the latest Associated Press Top 25 poll. Next up for Navy is a bye week. The Mid's next game is their homecoming game, home to Florida Atlantic, Saturday afternoon, October 25th at 3:30. Virginia Tech now is 2-2 with Philip Montgomery as interim head coach. The Hokies fell to 2-5 overall, including 1-2 in the ACC, with a 35-20 loss at then number 13 Georgia Tech on Saturday. Georgia Tech for this game was the number 13 team in the FBS per the Associated Press Top 25 poll, and Georgia Tech is up 1 spot to being the number 12 team in the FBS per the latest Associated Press Top 25 poll, which came out on Sunday afternoon. The Hokies in the second quarter trailed 18-0. Their defense got work. The Hokies allowed Georgia Tech to put up 481 total net yards of offense, averaged 7.29 yards per play, and go 7 for 12 on third downs and 1 for 1 on fourth downs. The Hokies got victimized by Georgia Tech quarterback Haynes King. He went 20 for 24 for 213 yards, a touchdown, and no interceptions. He took no sacks, and he had 14 carries for 60 yards and 2 touchdowns. And the Hokies allowed Georgia Tech running back and Penn transfer Malachi Hosley to have 11 carries for 129 yards and a touchdown. Hosley for this season through week 7 is number 1 among all qualified players in the FBS in yards per carry, 8.93. ODU running back and Georgia military transfer Traquan Jones, he's number 2, 8.83. And ODU quarterback Colton Joseph is number 10, 7.55. The Hokies offense had an odd game. The Hokies averaged 6.67 yards per play. That's very good. Went 3 for 4 on fourth downs, but the Hokies went 0 for 8 on third downs and scored just 20 points. A mixed game for Hokies quarterback Kyron Drones. He completed just 13 of his 21 pass attempts, threw an interception, and took 3 sacks. Although they totaled just minus 8 yards and lost yardage, Drones threw for 181 yards, so he had a yards per pass attempt of 8.62. That's good. He had 2 touchdown passes, and he had 13 carries for 91 yards and a touchdown when you take out the 3 sacks that he took. And the Hokies lost despite running backs Terrion Stewart and Marcellus Hawkins combining for 15 carries for 106 yards. I tell you, these 2 guys have formed a nice 2-back attack for Tech. Central Missouri transfer Marcellus Hawkins, he had 9 carries for 82 yards and had no receptions on 1 target. Bowling Green transfer Terrion Stewart, he had 6 carries for 24 yards and had 2 receptions for 9 yards on 2 targets. And next up for Virginia Tech is a bye week. The Hokies' next game is home to Cal Friday night, October 24th at 7:30. James Madison continues to roll. The Dukes, they improved to 5-1 overall, including 3-0 in the Sun Belt Conference with a 24-14 win over Louisiana at Bridgeforth Stadium in Harrisonburg, Virginia on Saturday afternoon. JMU becomes the first Sun Belt Conference program ever to start 5-1 or better overall in each of 4 consecutive seasons. The game had a scoreless first quarter. JMU lost the second quarter 14-7, but then won the second half 17-0. JMU's defense was mostly very good. The Dukes allowed passing plays of 69 and 44 yards, but otherwise held Louisiana to just 175 total net yards of offense over 55 offensive plays. The Dukes held Louisiana to just 3 for 14 on third downs. JMU for this season through Week 7 is number 27 in the FBS in defensive efficiency per ESPN. JMU quarterback Alonzo Barnett III had a nice game, 26 for 40 for 290 yards, 3 touchdowns, and an interception. He took no sacks. He had 5 carries for 28 yards. So Barnett quarterbacked a JMU offense that went 8 for 17 on third downs. A JMU receiver and Richmond transfer Landon Ellis, he had 6 receptions for 120 yards and 3 touchdowns. So JMU running backs Wayne Knight and Jordan Fuller, a Holy Cross transfer, they combined for 32 carries for 161 yards and combined for 6 receptions for 27 yards. And JMU won despite having 10 accepted penalties for 102 yards. Next up for James Madison, home to Old Dominion Saturday afternoon at 3:30. And speaking of Old Dominion, a very disappointing loss for the Monarchs. ODU fell to 4-2 overall, including 1-1 in the Sun Belt Conference, with a 48-24 loss at Marshall on Saturday. ODU for this game was a 14.5-point favorite per multiple outlets, and yet lost by 24 points. ODU in the fourth quarter trailed 48-10. This was a no-doubt blowout loss for the Monarchs in a game in which they were a 14.5-point favorite per multiple outlets. So what happened? Well, turnovers happened. ODU committed 5 turnovers, 3 lost fumbles, and 2 interceptions. 2 of the lost fumbles came on muffed catches of punts, and ODU had another muff catch of a punt, but ODU recovered that fumble. ODU quarterback Colton Joseph, he had a mixed game. He threw 2 interceptions. He completed just 15 of his 28 pass attempts. He did throw for 266 yards, so he averaged 9.5 yards per pass attempt, but nearly half of his passing yards came in the fourth quarter, which was garbage time. Joseph had a touchdown pass. He had 10 carries for 64 yards and a touchdown when you take out the 2 sacks that he took. They totaled minus 14 yards in lost yardage. Colton Joseph for this season through Week 7 is number 31 among all qualified FBS quarterbacks, and ESPN's total QBR 75.4. And that'll do it for you and me for now. Keep the feedback coming. You can hit me up on X at Al Galdi. You can email me the Al Galdi podcast at yahoo.com. Tuesday's show, episode 1176. We'll have plenty for you on the Washington Commanders. In-depth reaction to and analysis of their game against the Chicago Bears at Northwest Stadium on Monday Night Football at 8:15. Have a great rest of your Monday, and I'll talk to you on Tuesday.
The Bears. The Bears.